With Christmas coming up just around the corner, if anybody's interested in buying a belt sander for somebody, or if you're anything like me buying a belt sander for yourself while you're out looking for presents for other people, then today I'm going to talk about the Triton 3-inch belt sander. So stick around. So I needed a new belt sander, and after Triton very kindly provided me with the dowel jointing machine free of charge, and I got the chance to get my hands on it and see what the quality was like, I was very impressed with that as a product, and that came across to me positively as a brand. So when I was in the market for a new belt sander, I examined the market, see what was on offer, and the price ranges accordingly, and for whatever reason I've landed on the Triton 3-inch belt sander. So today I want to show you what this is, what it does, what you get and how it operates. So let's take a look what you get in the box. Right, so in here you will find an instruction manual, a spare drive belt, should the one in it ever snap, and a locking screw. We've got some clamp connectors and a bracket. We've got a dust bag, and under here should be the machine itself. And there she is, already with a belt included. Right, so we'll just get these out of the way for the time being. And first impressions, stylistically, I think the tool looks pretty freaking rad. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it's never a bad thing if you look a bit sexy while you're doing it. Right, so first things first, there is a 1200 watt motor under the hood of this thing, which I found is the highest in the 3-inch belt sander category that I could find while I was examining the market looking for a belt sander. So that's a pretty good engine it's got in there. Second thing is we've got a 3-meter power cable. And it's a good thick flex with a good secure safety plug on it. Very good. On your side of the machine we have the belt tensioning mechanism, which operates very simply. Pull to release, the belt pops off. We change the belt, retension, and we're good to go. We have a variable speed adjuster down here, which we can rotate down to 1, gentle, delicate work. Or if you really want to open the taps on this thing, you can crank it all the way up to 6 and go mental. And around the other side of the machine, we've got a tracking control knob and the dust extraction port, to which we can attach a dust bag or a shop vac hose. Actually using the machine and holding on to it, you have variations of how that can be done. First of all, this upper handle can be adjusted into 3 positions. We simply release the locking lever and this handle will drop 1 position, 2 positions, and then all the way down and back up again to however you choose to use it, and lock it back in position. You can also hold on to it with the upper part of the machine, which is covered in this nice black gripping material, overlay material, which makes the machine very comfortable and easy to hold and maneuver around. Now, what else I thought was pretty cool about this particular tool was, I've seen it before, and you may have seen it yourself, where people invert the belt sander, usually clamping it in a vise or something like that, in order to bring a small piece of work to the belt. Now, going back to these brackets that I mentioned earlier, these are designed to enable you to clamp the tool directly to your bench and use it as a miniature benchtop sander. And I'll show you how that works. The first thing you need to do is lower the handle to its lowest position and lock it into place. Due to the flat nature design of the belt sander itself, it will turn upside down and sit perfectly flat on a bench top. So we take these brackets supplied with the machine and they slide into these holes here and clamp underneath your bench. And that clamps the tool very solidly to a workbench. We can then take this little fence that comes supplied along with a locking screw and secure that directly into the side of the machine. Just ensure that the fence isn't directly touching the belt, just a little clearance gap. And we can then use the machine inverted as a desktop belt sander. Actually controlling the speed, not the speed, but actually activating the belt itself is done by one of two ways. Simply pulling and holding the trigger, or for prolonged use you can pull the trigger and press the button, which will allow you to move your hand and not keep it pressed on the trigger while the belt runs. To release that, press the button and the belt will stop. Finally, a safety feature on the back of the handle is an LED light, which shows when the machine is live. So as I was explaining earlier, to operate the machine, pull the trigger. To operate the machine permanently, I think we're ready to sand some boards. Right, so here I've got a couple of really rough boards straight from the sawmill, so it's full of machine marks. As you can see, I've got a big chunk of oak and I've got a big rough sapele board. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to blast these with the belt sander for however long it takes till we get down to some kind of surface that resembles kind of smooth, that you could either then further refine with a finer finishing sander or go at it with a hand plane to some kind of finer finish. So we'll see how we get on with these. I'll plug my dust port in, I'll mask up and I'll blast these and show you how they come up. Okay, so I'm recording this pretty much immediately after doing the demonstration, and my workshop is relatively dust-free, almost entirely dust-free to be honest. So the dust extraction when hooked up to some kind of extractor or hoover works very well. The actual demonstration itself was very, very positive. We managed to go from this to this in a minute. For argument's sake, let's call it 2 minutes. That's pretty good material removal. With a 1200 watt motor, I could feel the power in it. I can feel it wanting to pull. And 1200 watts in this kind of range for a belt sander is pretty impressive. Screwfix catalogue is a generally good standard to sort of compare things by. So I've got a Hitachi belt sander, 1020 watt machine, £149, 3-inch DeWalt belt sander, 1010 watts, again 1200 watts is the Triton, the DeWalt machine 220 quid, 4-inch Makita, that's a 1200 watt, but that's a 4-inch. And again, all three have got the same kind of stuff, the variable speed, the tracking, dust bag, yada, yada, yada. So 1200 watt machine, I can feel the power in it. And we've got very good results. We went from a very sort of rough, ugly surface that's just been sliced by the sawmill to a very smooth, workable kind of surface very, very quickly. You try doing that with a normal kind of palm sander, you'll be there a long time to sort of go from that to that. So yeah, like that very much. It was easy to hold, easy to control. With the black over-molded gripper, I like the handle. It slides backwards and forwards very easily. Nice to control, nice to hold. And very sturdy as well, very sturdy upright. It doesn't want to sort of tip from one side to side. It's very blocky in shape and it holds down flat very, very well and very easily. So I like it very much. Another thing that's worth noting about it, if you was doing floorboards or something of that nature, so if this is our floorboard, this is our wall, you can really get right up close to the surface that you're working on. So again, that's just a good tool design, keeping this side very, very flat, nothing in the way, so you can get right up against the edge of a skirting board or something of that nature. So what I like about it is pretty obvious. What I don't like about it so much is worth noting. The handle just has a little bit of wiggle in it, because the handle locks on the left-hand side and it's just held in position really on the opposite side. So there is a little bit of play there. But again, it doesn't bother me when I'm using it. So if it doesn't bother me, I won't bother it. The other thing worth noting is, if you buy one of these machines, one of the first things you might notice is can you hear that? It's like a rattle, like a tinging kind of rattle. I questioned this and I compared this with 3 other brand new machines, and all other machines make the same noise. So I'm not exactly sure what the rattle is, but that seems to be normal and standard on the machine. So again, it doesn't seem to bother me, so I'm not bothered by it. But I just thought it was worth mentioning. That rattle appears to supposed to be there, whatever it is. So all in all, that is the Triton 3-inch belt sander. Time will tell how long it lasts, but for the money, in the sort of, when you're buying tools, everybody's kind of got their own idea as to how much life they expect out of it, or what is acceptable for that person. So for me, I've got my figure in my head, how long I would expect a tool to last before it broke or I had to replace it. So only time will tell whether this hits my figure. My figure might not be the same as your figure. But again, I've kind of made a decision on buying this particular tool over any other particular tool based on what factors are important to me. I don't use a belt sander massively often, so I don't want to invest overly heavily into it, but I do want to invest enough into getting something that's good, works, feels comfortable to use when I do want to use it, and gives me that kind of middle ground. So I'm hoping this will tick all the boxes for me. And if you've enjoyed this video and you're looking for a belt sander, you may wish to consider this one. So thank you very much for watching. I will be off to do some Christmas shopping for the rest of the day, and I will catch you again soon. Till next time.